Welcome everybody, welcome everybody, welcome back to Pillah Sports. This is going to be an amazing video. We just started going live here, and so make sure you guys are joining us. Make sure you guys come and give us your thoughts down in the comments and in the live chat. No matter what it is, it's always accepted here. This is a channel for you. So we are going to be talking today about Micheal Olise. We're going to be talking today about Dan Ashworth. We're going to be talking today about Manchester United in general. And then we'll give you guys a little bit of things that are happening when it comes to the news and everything of that ilk. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure, like I said, make sure you like, make sure you comment, and make sure you subscribe. And make sure you turn on the notifications because there are a lot of things that I want you guys to know. And I got to give you guys the news and the latest news, and those comes rapidly. So let me know what you think. My name is Manny. My name is Pillah, and we move. Let's go. So today we're gonna start with Dan Ashworth. Fabrizio Romano has just announced that Dan Ashworth has already said yes to Manchester United. That is just amazing. That is just amazing. I want you guys to understand that Manchester United still has the pull for days. Manchester United is the biggest club in the country, and so Manchester United absolutely would be doing Manchester United absolutely will be going on to get Dan Ashworth. Now we go into the full story about it. Now let's see what Fabrizio Romano has to say. Fabrizio Romano says Dan Ashworth has already said yes to Manchester United. He is prepared to accept their proposal as it is considered a big opportunity and project. Bear in mind, Dan Ashworth has always wanted Manchester United. Dan Ashworth was recommended by Sir Alex Ferguson before the appointment of John Murtough. Before the appointment of John Murtough, they told him, go get Dan Ashworth from Brighton. And they wanted Richard Arnold wanted to build the team around John Murtough, and Dan Ashworth basically rejected it because he wanted to be one of the leading roles. He felt that after his job at Brighton and seeing what he has done at Brighton, it is just makes sense for him to go directly into a leading role, which I agree totally. We would have been in a better position if Dan Ashworth was leading our recruitment and leading the football direction of Manchester United. So, Richard Arnold, that's why you're not in the position right now because of those kinds of decisions. So, we'll go forward. It basically continues to say it is understood that Manchester United are intention to negotiate understood Manchester United are intentioned to negotiate and pay compensation to Newcastle. They absolutely want Ashworth now, not in 2025. So, what that basically is breaking down is Dan Ashworth is contracted to Newcastle to 2025, which is basically a year from now. And Manchester United do not want to wait. They want Dan Ashworth to be crucial in the decision making of the summer. Manchester United is probably going to have a big summer this coming summer, and they want Dan Ashworth to have his hands in every single thing that goes on. So it makes sense to me. I think it's the right decisions to do. I think it's the right decision to do because Dan Ashworth is going to be our football director. So why would you not give Dan Ashworth the keys to the reins already? We already know what is happening when it comes to Micheal Olise. I'm going to go into that, but before I go into that, we already know that we have a recruitment team right now that are not the greatest. The recruitment team in Manchester United are not the greatest. So what does that imply? That implies that the recruitment team is going to bring a list of players to Dan Ashworth and say, hey, this is who we have scouted. These are the people that we think are Manchester United players and could take Manchester United to greater heights. Now, the key thing is for Dan Ashworth to say, I do not like this, I do like this, I do like this, I don't like this. And if he says all that, then we have a top target, or we have some targets for Manchester United going into the summer. So that is what is happening with Dan Ashworth right now, and I just wanted to give you guys an update. If you have not watched the previous video, make sure you watch the previous video. I go into in depth about what Dan Ashworth's philosophies are, and basically how he goes about his business when it comes to recruiting for Crystal Palace, when it comes to recruiting for Brighton, when it comes to recruiting for Newcastle. So we are going to be going right now into the next thing on the schedule, which is Dave Ornstein talking about a highly rated director of football. So, Dave Ornstein says, Man United are working on a deal to appoint Jason Wilcox to the senior post in the new setup of Manchester United. By the way, if you do not know Jason Wilcox has basically been the person that has driven the academy in Manchester City. He was the one in charge of the likes of Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, Cub, what's his name again? This guy, I forgot his name, but he plays for Manchester City. Basically, to say this was the person in charge of the academy at Manchester City and has produced a lot of players for Manchester City over the years. And he goes on to say, Manchester United yet to approach Southampton for the highly rated Calvin. Calvin, get ready. Sir Joe is on his way. Yeah, so he's on his way. So pardon the mistake and pardon the interruptions, but we have the job would be reporting into sporting director. So what he would be coming into would not be the director of football, which he is right now at Southampton. He would be coming in as a director of football. So that is what is going on right now. Now to talk about the big the big opinion, or to talk about Micheal Olise, which is what we were ready to kind of go into. So Micheal Olise right now has basically been seen as the right man for the wing for Manchester United in the summer. So the scouts have basically approved Micheal Olise as the right man to go for in the summer. So he just basically makes him one of the top targets. But the truth about it is the um the recruiting group have not given us any cause to be happy about what they have done based on the signings that they have recommended, or the signings that they have signed off on. And so it's not doing me any justice to say yes or to say no with what they have. Of course, we know Michael Olise. I almost said Sunday Olise. If you know Nigerians, Sunday Olise was literally out of this world when it came to a midfield position. But Michael Olise is such a good player. He is a good player. However, Michael Olise and situations like that, we still have people like Pedro Neto. We have a lot of wingers, but we still have wingers in team right now. Now you telling me that we are looking to pay about 50 million for Michael Olise to sit on the bench, because right now we are looking at Marcus Rashford on the left, Garnacho on the right, and then we have Anthony in on the bench. If you are telling me that that is what is going to happen, now it's going to be a whole conversation that we have to start, because Marcus Rashford is the highest earner in the club. We have Garnacho being very is such a starlet that he has to start every game. So it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one to look at the situation and say that we want Michael Olise. To me, in my own personal view, I feel like Pedro Neto of Wolves will be more efficient and more dangerous as a right winger for Manchester United, especially coming off the bench. I feel like this is going to be someone that would devastate a lot of players, would devastate a lot of defenders in terms of Pedro Neto. So, if I was the director of football, which I am not, I would be going for Pedro Neto. But of course, we have to let Dan Ashworth take his course. We got to let Dan Ashworth review the team, review the strategies, the transfer strategies, and then make his decision on what is going to be best for Manchester United. Of course, Dan Ashworth already has done a lot of work in terms of recruiting. So I'm going to give you guys a list of Dan Ashworth's what Dan Ashworth has basically done in his time as a director of football or his time as recruitment. So we're looking at Mitoma. We're looking at let me see. Let me see. Let me just get it right. I want to give you guys the right answers. Okay. All right, perfect. So these are the signings. It's very signings that were selected by him personally. Signings that were selected by him personally. We're looking at Moises Caicedo for £4.5 million, Cucurella for £15.4 million, Lisandro Trossard for £15 million, McAllister for £7 million, Mitoma for £2.7 million, Tariq Lamptey for £4 million, and then he goes into Newcastle and does almost the same thing, but in a with a higher basically signing higher signing fees and stuff. So he goes with Isak, £63 million, which was a steal. Is a steal. Tonali, £55 million, which is the biggest steal I've seen in a long time. Gordon for £45 million. That was a little bit too expensive for me, but that's anyway. Barnes, Harvey Barnes, 39 million. Livramento, 63 million. And Sven Botman, 35 million. So the fact is, this man knows, he knows how to buy players. He knows how to get a deal. He knows how to build a team around the owners, around the style of football that is wanted from the club, around the style of football that is wanted by the coach or by the manager. This is the man for the job. I can't wait to see what Dan Ashworth does with Manchester United. Let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know what you guys think about this. This is one of our very first lives. Make sure you guys are liking, make sure you guys are commenting, and make sure you guys are subscribing. That is the help the brother out special. Those are the three right there. So this is how Pillah sees it. Make sure you guys let me know what you think about this down in the comments. This is from me to you. Peace. Now we can rest from Valentine's Day. Take care.